So welcome to all of you, Shiksha 360. And today basically we will start our discussion. Chapter number 4 MCQs. So let's start. And this is basically MCQ set number 11. And that is basically based on chapter number 4. Clear? And that is basically based on the chapter number 4. And in this session, basically we will try to discuss questions from 119 to 135. So let's start our first question. Question number 119. The beneficiary of an LC, clear? The beneficiary of an LC basically wants that pre-shipment credit, clear? That is before the shipment of the goods, clear? Pre-shipment credit, that is basically they have an order, and before the, we can say that before the shipment of the order, clear, they will get the money, clear? Basically they will get the money, clear? The beneficiary of an LC basically wants that pre-shipment credit should be available to him on the strength of the LC, clear? Just on the basis of the LC, basically they will get money, clear? That is before the shipment. So which of the following LC basically will be suitable to meet his requirement, clear? Basically which of the following LC basically will be suitable to meet his requirement, clear? There are basically two types of LC, clear? Generally basically where basically we will get payment before the shipment, clear? That is basically green clause, or either otherwise that is to be red clause, clear? So let's start with the option. There is a little bit difference basically which we have to discuss in the upcoming questions, clear? So back to back LC, red clause LC, standby LC, LC transferable LC, clear? So the correct answer is option number B, clear? So this one is our correct answer. Okay, now move to the next question, question number 120. So let's start with the question. The beneficiary of an LC, that is LC basically letter of credit, clear? The beneficiary of an LC basically insists that another bank should give guarantee, clear? That is basically another bank basically should give guarantee for the payment by the opening bank, clear? That is another bank basically should give guarantee for the payment by the opening bank, clear? That is LC issued. The beneficiary of an LC insists that another bank should give guarantee, clear? Like basically we can say that sometimes basically what will happen in some countries, like basically there are financial conditions are not good, clear? So there is failure of chances, clear? So there is basically failure of chances of the bank, clear? So in that cases, clear, basically the beneficiary, in that cases basically the beneficiary wants that basically some other bank, clear? Basically some other bank will give the guarantee that they will give the payment in the default of the opening bank, clear? Basically in the default of the opening bank, clear? So that is, so what type of LC will be opened, clear? So in that case basically what type of LC will be opened? First one is the confirmed LC, second one is the restricted LC, third one is the standby LC, fourth one is the transferable LC, clear? That is basically beneficiary basically what they want, confirmation, clear? Here basically beneficiary basically what they want, that is confirmation, clear? In this case basically beneficiary basically what they want, that is basically confirmation from the bank, clear? That is basically they will give the payment, clear? That is basically they will give the payment in the case of the default, clear? So that is basically known as the confirmed LC, clear? That is basically known as the confirmed LC, clear? So this one is our answer, clear? Basically what they want in that case, that is basically the confirmation, clear? That LC is basically known as the confirmed LC, clear? That LC basically it is known as the confirmed LC, clear? Transferable LC, it is a different thing, clear? Some students are answering basically option number D. Basically it is a different thing, clear? Transferable LC basically it is a different thing, clear? So now move to the next question, question number 121, clear? 121, clear? This type of question basically you will find in the examination also, clear? So a letter of credit, clear? A letter of credit basically states that the amount as approximately basically $1 lakh, clear? That is $1 lakh, clear? So the amount of invoice in such circumstances, clear? Basically how much there is the variance, clear? How much variance basically in the amount, clear? A letter of credit states that the amount as approximately this much. So the amount of invoice, clear? The amount of invoice basically in such circumstances can vary to the extent of, clear? Can vary to the extent of, clear? First one is basically 10% plus or minus, B option is 5% plus or minus, C option is 1% plus or minus, D option is basically no such variation can be allowed, clear? So in that case basically how much variation, that is maximum, that is basically 10% plus or minus variation must be allowed, clear? 10% plus or minus variation can be allowed basically in that type of cases. Clear? In those cases, basically 10% variation, either it is to be plus or minus, that can be allowed. Clear? So option number A, this one is our answer. Okay, now move to the next question, question number 122. Clear? Very, very important question. Clear? Totally theoretical based question, but very, very important for the examination point of view. Clear? So the uniform rules for bank to bank reimbursement by the ICC. Clear? First of all, can anyone tell basically what is the full form of ICC? Can anyone tell basically what is the full form of ICC here? ICC basically stands for International Chamber of Commerce. Clear? International Chamber of Commerce. Clear? Regarding that, basically we have to discuss one more core question. First of all, this is the full form, and basically in which year basically it is established. Clear? In which year basically ICC was established. Clear? Basically ICC was established in the year 1919. Clear? Basically in the year 1919, and its headquarters is in Paris. Clear? Basically its headquarters is in Paris. Clear? So please remember all these things. Clear? First of all, full form, that is International Chamber of Commerce. It is established in the year 1919, and its headquarters basically is in the Paris. Clear? Is in the Paris. Clear? So now let's move towards the question. Basically what it says that. So the uniform rules. The uniform rules basically for bank to bank reimbursement. Clear? Basically the for bank to bank reimbursement basically by ICC. Clear? By ICC. And set out basically in ICC publication number 25. Clear? 725. Clear? 725. This is basically known as URR 75. Clear? This is basically URR 75. Clear? Do not bind basically which of the following banks. Clear? Basically do not bind basically which of the following banks. Clear? It will bind the issuing bank. Yes, it will bind the issuing bank. Reimbursing bank. Yes, this is also bind under that. Clear? Claiming bank. Basically this is not. Clear? Because this is not the part under that. Clear? The claiming bank. Clear? However, it is not a part. Clear? It is not a party to it. Clear? It is not a party to it, or not a part of it. Clear? And basically reimbursement. Clear? The reimbursement basically it is done. Clear? It is basically between the issuing bank. The role of that, it is basically between the issuing bank and the reimbursing bank. Clear? It is basically between the issuing bank and the reimbursing bank. There is not role of claiming bank under that. Clear? Just the role of the issuing bank and the reimbursing bank. Clear? And the reimbursing bank. Clear? So basically what is issuing bank? Basically the bank that has issued the letter of credit. Clear? Issuing bank is basically that bank basically that has issued the letter of credit. Clear? And the reimbursing bank is basically that bank accepted the reimbursement authorization instructions. Clear? Accepted the reimbursement authorization instruction basically from the issuing bank. Clear? Basically from the issuing bank. Clear? And there is no role of the claiming bank here under that. Clear? So this one is our answer. Now move to the next question, question number 123. This point basically we have discussed in the previous session. Clear? In the, I think on Saturday basically we have discussed regarding that. Clear? Insurance. So goods imported under the LC. Clear? Basically goods imported under the LC must be insured at, if not specifically mentioned. Clear? Goods imported basically under the LC must be insured at, if not specifically mentioned. Clear? Basically if not specifically mentioned, 100% of the invoice value, 110% of the invoice value, 120% of the invoice value, or none of these. Clear? Or none of these. Clear? So what is the correct answer under that? Clear? So goods imported basically under the LC basically must be insured that at, if not specifically mentioned. Clear? If there is not any specifically mentioned, so how much? That is basically 110% of the invoice value. Clear? That is basically 110% of the invoice value. Clear? So this one is our answer here. Clear? That is basically 110% of the invoice value. Clear? Move to the next question, question number 124. So issuance of the commercial standby LCs. Clear? Attract the provisions of. Clear? Basically issuance of the commercial standby LC. Clear? Basically issuance of the commercial standby LC. Clear? Basically attracts the provision of. Clear? Attracts the provision of. Clear? Standby LC basically it is similar to the guarantee. It is similar basically to the guarantee. Clear? So first one here is ISP 98. Second one is basically UCP DC 600. Third one is URR 25. Sorry. Fourth one here is basically URR 625, clear. Basically URR 625, clear. So basically issuance of the, first of all, basically before discussing the answer, first of all, basically we have discussed basically what is ISP. ISP 98, clear. So can anyone tell basically what is the full form of ISP here? Please tell fast if anyone know basically what is the full form of ISP. UC PDC 600, URR 25, and URR 725, clear, and URR 725. I think there is basically they are missing one word, that is URR 725, clear. Here basically URR 725, clear, and option number D is URR 625, clear. So please correct this one, clear. First of all, please correct this one, clear. URR 725, option number C, that is option number D is URR 625, clear. So issuance of the standby LC basically attracts the provision of ISP 98. This one is correct one. UCPDC 600. This one is also correct one. Clear. It is applicable. Clear. Basically, it is applicable on all the LCs. Clear. Basically, it is applicable basically on all the LCs that is issued after basically 1st of July 2017. 1st of July 2017. Clear. Third one here basically URR 745. Sorry, 745. Sorry, 725. Clear. URR 725. Clear. URR 725. Clear. Basically, it is also applicable on that. Clear. Basically, it is also applicable on that. Clear. So that is basically this one, and this one. Clear. First three are applicable. Clear. Basically, first three are applicable here. Clear. ISP 98 is applicable. UCPDC is applicable. Clear. And URR is also applicable. Clear. This one. Clear. So option number, this one is the answer. Clear. This one is the answer. Clear. This is basically, you have to remember that basically standby LC basically it is similar to the guarantee. Clear. It is similar to the guarantee. And ISP basically stands for, please remember this one also, that is international standby practices. Clear. Basically international standby practices. Clear. Please remember all these full forms also. Clear. Sometimes basically directly they will ask these things in the examination. Clear. ISP basically stands for international standby practices. Clear. International standby practices. Now move to the next question. Question number 125. 125. This type of question basically you will directly find in the examination. Clear. In any of the set. Clear. Because these are the basic documents. Clear. Basically which are to be required under the LC. Clear. Basically which are required to be under the LC. Clear. So bill of entry. Clear. Basically what? Basically bill of entry. Basically what it evidences. Clear. Bill of entry. Basically what it evidences. Basically what it says. That first one is goods have been imported. Yes, this one is correct one. Custom duty have been paid on the goods. This one is also correct one. Clear. Goods have arrived basically without incurring any damage. Clear. Basically goods have arrived basically without incurring any damage. Clear. So all the three are evidences. Clear. All the three are basically evidences of the bill of entry. Clear. All these points are to be mentioned under that. Clear. So the option is all of the above. Clear. Or all of these is our answer. Clear. All of the above or all of these is our answer. Clear. I'll move to the next one, that is question number 126. Clear. Question number 126. Same concept basically we have discussed in the previous session, that is bill of lading. Clear. It is also basically one of the document. Clear. So can anyone tell basically bill of lading basically it is a commercial document or a transport document? First of all, please tell one. Please tell anyone. Basically bill of lading. Clear. Basically bill of lading, it is a commercial document or a transport document. Bill of lading basically it is either a commercial or transport. Please remember this one, it is a transport document. Clear. Bill of lading, it is a transport document. Clear. So basically which document is the commercial document? Please tell fast. Which document is the commercial document? Yes, invoice is the commercial document. Clear. Invoice is the commercial document and bill of lading, it is a transport document. Clear. Basically bill of lading, basically it is a transport document. Clear. So now let's discuss here. Basically first option, that is it is a document of title to goods. Clear. It is a document of title to goods. Second one is it is issued by a shipping company. Clear. Basically it is issued by a shipping company. Third one, basically, it is a valid evidence for possible insurance claim, clear, because in that everything is mentioned, clear. Basically, how many goods are basically in that, clear, and basically all the things, clear, like there is gross weight, net weight, all these things basically are mentioned under that, under the bill of lading, clear. And it must contain the value of the goods, clear, and it must contain the value of the goods, clear. So here basically we have to find that basically which one is incorrect here, clear. Basically which one is incorrect here, clear, as I have received basically different answers from different students. So basically this question I will left for the practice purpose, clear. In the evening, basically I will put the answer of this question in the group, clear. So please think over the question and try to find out basically what is the correct answer. That is bill of lading, clear. Bill of lading, clear. Basically which of the following is incorrect, clear. Basically which of the following is incorrect regarding that, clear. Please not need to confuse. There are they basically different terms. First one is bill of exchange. In the end, I will give you the answer, clear, at the end of the session, clear. Second one here, basically invoice. Third one here, that is bill of lading. Third one here, that is basically bill of lading, clear. That is bill of lading, clear. Answer I will basically will tell in the end of the session, clear. I'll move to the next question, question number 127. Very easy question. With respect to the other question, basically this question is very, very easy, clear. So the advising bank. Question is basically regarding to the advising bank. So the advising bank is bound to honor the drafts drawn under the LC, is not liable to basically make payment under the LC, is bound to honor the draft drawn under the LC, basically provided that the documents basically tendered by the beneficiary are in strict conformity basically with the terms of the LC. B option is basically both A and C, clear. Basically both A and C, clear. What is the meaning of honor? What is the meaning of honor here? Just basically we have know that basically honor basically means that the payment. Honor basically means that the payment of the LC. So is the advising bank has the responsibility to honor the LC or not? Please tell fast. Basically it is bound, like option number say one says that the advising bank is bound to honor the drafts basically drawn under the LC. It depends, clear. It depends upon the terms and condition of the LC, clear. It depends, clear. If they are mentioning that is reimbursing bank, then basically it is a different thing. If they are mentioning that this is a reimbursing bank, then it is a different thing. But in the case of advising bank, clear, basically, but in the case of advising bank, basically they have not the responsibility, clear. Basically advising bank basically has not the responsibility to honor the LC, clear. Basically advising bank basically have not the responsibility, clear, to honor the LC, clear. Basically to honor the LC. Basically it's what is the main function? Basically what is the main work of the advising bank? Basically just giving information to the beneficiary, clear. It is basically for the beneficiary. It has not any liability to make the payment under the LC, clear. Basically to make the payment under the LC, basically it is just, first of all, basically its main function is to check the authenticity, clear, authenticity of the LC, clear. Its main function is to check the authenticity of the LC, clear, or authenticity of the credit, clear. So please go through the points carefully, clear. Otherwise basically you are not able to move towards the correct answer, clear. These are very easy terms, like what basically what is advising bank, basically what is issuing bank, clear. What is basically conforming bank, negotiating bank, reimbursing bank, clear. So please go through these points very carefully, clear. So the correct answer is that is option number B, clear. That is option number B is the correct answer here, clear. Option number B is the correct answer, clear. Advising bank basically is not liable to make payment under the LC, clear. It is not liable to make the payment under the LC. Now move to the next question, question number 128. Very easy question. I expect all of you basically will give the answer. An LC opened by a bank in favor of second beneficiary, clear. An LC basically opened by a bank in favor of second beneficiary on the strength of the original LC, clear? Basically on the strength of the original LC, clear? Basically on the strength of the original LC, clear? On the strength of the original LC, clear? So what is the correct answer here is to be red clause LC, green clause LC, basically back to back LC, or revolving LC, clear? Or revolving LC, clear? Basically that the correct answer here is to basically back to back LC, clear? Option number C is the answer, that is back to back LC, clear? That is back to back LC, clear? And basically one question, basically one student basically have asked down, so what is the meaning of crystallization, clear? Basically one student have asked, so what is the meaning of crystallization, clear? So basically journal, basically what is the meaning of crystallization? That is conversion of, clear? Please remember this thing also, conversion of the foreign currency, clear? Crystallization basically what it means, that conversion of the foreign currency bill, clear? Conversion of the foreign currency bill into home currency, conversion of the foreign currency bill basically into home currency liability, that is basically crystallization, clear? That is basically crystallization, clear? Please remember this one also. Now move to the next question, question number 129, clear? Question number 129, clear? Please go through the question very carefully, that is related to the negotiating bank, clear? This question is basically related to the negotiating bank, clear? So while negotiating the bill, clear? So what this point says, that basically while negotiating the bills, clear? That is basically negotiating the bills basically for what? Basically for the payment. The under the LC, clear? Basically while negotiating the bills basically under the LC, the negotiating bank basically faces, no risk since the payment is committed by the LC issuing bank, clear? That is negotiating bank basically faces, first option, that is no risk since the payment is committed by the LC issuing bank. Second one is the risk of dishonor. The risk of dishonor of the documents basically by the LC issuing bank if certain discrepancies are basically noticed by the LC issuing bank, clear? The risk of dishonor of the documents basically by the LC issuing bank if certain discrepancies basically are noticed by the LC issuing bank. Third one is no risk since the exposure basically is on the exporter, clear? Third one is basically no risk basically since the exposure basically is on the exporter. Fourth one is both A and B are correct, clear? Basically both A and B are correct, clear? As basically we say that basically D is a contradictory answer, clear? D is a contradictory answer, clear? In A option basically they said that basically there is no risk, and in the B option basically it says that basically there is a risk, clear? There is a risk, clear? So this one is not the answer, clear? The correct answer is option number B, clear? There is a risk, clear? If they basically if the negotiating bank is not check all the data properly, clear? If negotiating bank is not checking all the terms and conditions properly, so basically there is a risk arises, clear? So basically in that case basically there is a risk arises basically for the negotiating bank, clear? Basically for the negotiating bank, clear? So the correct answer is option number B, that is the risk of dishonor of the documents basically by the LC issuing bank if discrepancies basically are noticed by the LC issuing bank, clear? If certain discrepancies basically are noticed by the LC issuing bank, clear? If certain discrepancies basically are noticed by the LC issuing bank, clear? Now move to the next question. This answer is option number B. Question number 130, clear? Basically question number 130, clear? So what is the current publication of international standard banking practices, clear? Basically what is the current publication basically of the international standard banking practices for the examination of documents, clear? Basically for the examination of documents ISBP basically under UCPDC, clear? Basically under UCPDC, clear? What is the basically under ISBP, clear? First of all basically what is the full form of ISBP? That is international standard, this one is they have written international standard banking practices, clear? So what is the current version, clear? Under UCPDC, that is option number C is the correct answer, that is 745, clear? ISBP basically 745. And one question sometime basically they will ask more basically when this was published, clear? Basically this was published in July 2013, clear? Basically this was published basically in July 2013, clear? July 2013, clear? Now move to the next question. Back to back LCs, clear? Basically what is back to back LC, clear? Basically this question basically they have already provided in the book, clear? Basically back to back LC, clear? Basically this is third question, clear? In the book, clear? Basically this is the third question in the book, clear? Because we have to cover all the questions also basically that is present in our book, clear? So basically that is LC opened on the backing of an export order LC opened basically on the backing of the import order. LC opened basically on the backing of the export LC. LC opened basically on the backing of the import LC. Clear? So the correct one, that is basically it is LC. Letter of credit basically opened on the backing of an export LC. Clear? It is basically letter of credit basically opened on the backing. Clear? Letter of credit basically opened on the backing of the export LC. Clear? On the back of the export LC. Clear? Basically that is back to back LC. Clear? That is basically back to back LC. Clear? So option number C is the correct answer. Now move to the question number 132. This point basically I think basically we have already discussed in the second question. Clear? ICC, that is the International Chamber of Commerce, basically was established in 1952, 1956, 1944, none of these. So please tell fast basically in which year basically it is established. Clear? International Chamber of Commerce basically was established in the year 1919. Clear? In the year 1919. I have already explained this point in the second question. So answer is option number D. And where it's a headquarter? Where is the headquarter of International Chamber of Commerce? Please tell fast basically where is the headquarter of the International Chamber of Commerce? Headquarter basically it is in Paris. Clear? Headquarter basically it is in Paris. Clear? These are basically different type of question basically, but we have to cover all these things. Clear? Because in the examination basically we have don't know basically what type of question basically they will ask. Clear? Now move to the next question, question number 133. 133. So basically which abbreviation? Clear? Basically which abbreviation of the following? Clear? Basically which abbreviation of the following is for uniform custom and practices basically for the documentary credits? Clear? Basically which abbreviation basically used for the uniform customs for practices, uniform custom and practices basically for the documentary credits? Clear? Basically for the documentary credits. Clear? So basically which abbreviation basically they will use? UCP, URC, URDG, and last one is basically none. Clear? Last one here basically it is none. Clear? So generally basically they will use the abbreviation that is UCPDC. Clear? That is basically UCPDC. Clear? UCPDC. Clear? This one is our answer. Clear? Now move to the next question, question number 134. Clear? Question number 134. Clear? And expiry date. Clear? Basically question number 134. And expiry date basically for the presentation of the documents. Clear? Basically an expiry date basically for the presentation of the documents. Every credit basically which calls for a transport document should also stipulate a specified period of time after the date of shipment, during which basically presentation must be made. Clear? During which basically presentation must be made. So if no such period of time is stipulated, bank will not accept documents clear presented to them later than basically how many days after the date of shipment. Clear? Basically later than basically how many days basically to basically how many days basically after the date of shipment. Clear? After the date of shipment, that is 21 days. Clear? Basically within 21 days basically they have to present them. Clear? Basically within 21 days basically they have to present them. Clear? Basically they have to present them. Clear? And basically within how many days? Clear? Basically within how many basically banking days, then how many basically banking days bank have to accept or refuse the documents. Clear? Basically bank have to accept or refuse the documents. Clear? Basically within how many days basically bank have to accept or refuse the documents as per article number 14. Clear? As per article number 14. That is 5 days. Clear? That is basically 5 days. Okay. Now move to the next one. So wait a minute. So basically here in that question, clear, question number 113, clear, basically which abbreviation of the following is used for the uniform customs and practices basically for the documentary credit. Clear? Basically for the documentary credit. Clear? Here mainly generally basically we have write UCPDC. Clear? But this is also used. Clear? Basically but this is also used. Clear? Here basically while giving the none, basically this one is little bit correct one. Clear? More correct one, that is UCP. Clear? Basically you will find that. Clear? Even basically in the task many times basically they will write as directly UCP. Clear? They will directly write as UCP. Clear? So basically this one is the correct answer. Clear? This one is the correct answer. Clear? Please rectify the answer of this question. That is, this one is the correct answer. Clear? UCP. Clear? UCP. Clear? Maintain basically you will find directly they will write the UCP. Clear? UCP. Now move to the last question of our today's session. That is a documentary credit. Clear? Basically a documentary credit calls for presentation of an insurance certificate. Clear? Basically calls for presentation basically of an insurance certificate. Which of the following insurance documents clear basically would be acceptable for CIF payment? Clear basically for CIF shipment. Clear basically which of the following documents clear basically would be acceptable basically for the CIF shipment where the invoice value is basically USD 7,000. Clear basically where the invoice value basically is a USD 75,000. Clear? So here basically that is CIF. Clear? That is basically cost, insurance and freight. Clear? Basically cost, insurance and freight. Clear? Basically cost, insurance and freight. Clear? First one here, that is basically insurance certificate, is basically for USD 82,500. Clear? Insurance certificate. Clear? Basically insurance certificate, that is basically 110%. Clear? Basically insurance certificate, that is basically 110% of the CIF. Clear? Basically 110%. Clear? As basically we have discussed, that is insurance certificate or insurance policy, that is CIF or CIP. Clear? So basically when we are doing 110% of that. So basically this one basically insurance certificate basically for USD 82,500. Clear? So this one is correct one. Clear? Second one is basically that is insurance policy. Clear? Insurance policy. Clear? So insurance policy is basically for USD 85,000. Insurance declaration basically for USD 75,000 and insurance. This one is wrong. Clear? Insurance policy. Clear? Basically we will here basically they are mentioning insurance policy basically for USD 85,000. Clear? So the correct answer that is this one. Clear? That is insurance certificate basically for 82,500. Clear? Basically for 82,500. Clear? In some places, clear? Basically in some places you can find that basically insurance basically we can take of the more amount. Clear? Basically insurance basically we will take of the more amount. Clear? That is basically up to 85,000. Clear? Basically this is also valid. Clear? Basically by adding some extra things. Clear? By adding some extra things. Clear? Basically they can increase the insurance. Clear? Basically they can increase the insurance also. Clear? Insurance amount also. Clear? That is this one. Clear? Basically I will left this question here because these points basically we have to discuss under chapter number 5. Clear? That is basically up to how much value basically this can raise here. Clear? This can raise here. Clear? Till that basically this one is our correct point. Clear? Till that basically this one is our correct point, that is A. Clear? Basically for other points, clear, this one is our wrong. For these 2 points basically we will discuss in the next chapter. Clear? Basically in the next week. Clear? Basically when we will discuss questions regarding the chapter number 5. Clear? At that time basically I will explain that point to you. Clear? Till now basically you will see that basically this one is our correct point, which basically with respect to that. Clear? Basically with respect to that. Okay, so in this session basically we have to discuss up to this much point, and basically there is one question which the student want answer, that is this question. Clear? So this one is our answer. Clear? So in that this one is our answer. Clear? I think basically in that basically we have not discussed the answer, that is this one is our answer. Clear? It must contain the value of the goods. Clear? It must contain the value of the goods. Clear? So in this session basically we have to discuss up to this much point. Hope all of you are able to understand basically what type of different types of question basically we will expect from that. Clear? Basically we will expect from that. Clear? So thanks to all of you for attending this basic discussion.